Have you ever stopped and wondered, what if your cat isn't actually comfortable with you, but just too quiet to show it? Because here's the truth most people miss. Cats don't complain. They don't bark. They don't argue. They just slowly pull away. And the hardest part? It often happens because of things you do every single day. Things that feel completely normal, even loving. Lighting a scented candle, rubbing their belly, looking into their eyes, thinking you're bonding. None of these seem wrong, but to your cat, they can mean something very different. And by the time you notice something has changed, the distance is already there. In this video, you'll discover 6 everyday habits that might be quietly damaging your cat's trust, and what your cat is really trying to tell you instead. Because loving your cat isn't just about what you give, it's about what you don't accidentally take away. In this video, we're going to break down 6 everyday things that cats quietly hate, but rarely show in obvious ways. For each one, you'll understand what your cat is actually feeling, why it matters more than you think, and how to respond in a way that builds trust instead of slowly breaking it. Because most relationship problems between you and your cat don't come from one big mistake. They come from small misunderstandings repeated every day. And the last one on this list, it's the reason many cats stop talking to their owners completely without anyone realizing why. Think about your daily routine for a second. You come home after a long day, you light a scented candle, maybe turn on an essential oil diffuser, and finally relax. But while you're unwinding, your cat is doing the exact opposite. A cat's sense of smell is incredibly powerful, about 200 million scent receptors compared to roughly 5 million in humans. That means what feels like a soft, calming scent to you can feel overwhelming, even suffocating to them. And it's not just about discomfort. Many essential oils like tea tree, eucalyptus, or peppermint contain compounds that are actually toxic to cats. Their bodies lack a liver enzyme needed to properly break these substances down, which can lead to respiratory issues, drooling, vomiting, and in severe cases, liver damage. But here's what makes this so easy to miss. Your cat won't panic. They won't make a scene. They'll just quietly leave the room or stop spending time in the spaces they used to love. And unless you're paying close attention, you'll never connect the two. So if you truly want your cat to feel safe in your home, start here. Avoid using essential oil diffusers in enclosed spaces. Keep rooms well ventilated. And if you enjoy scented products, make sure they're specifically labeled as pet safe, because your comfort should never come at the cost of theirs. If you have more than one cat, this might be harder to hear. Have you ever assumed they just figure it out? Sharing the same food bowl, the same litter box, the same space. It seems efficient. It seems harmless. But to your cats, it can feel like living in constant, silent tension. Unlike dogs, cats are not naturally social in the same way. They're territorial by instinct. Resources like food, water, resting spots, and litter boxes are deeply personal to them. A study published in 2017 in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that competition over resources is one of the leading causes of chronic stress in multi-cat households. And the most dangerous part? It doesn't always look like fighting. Sometimes it looks like one cat eating less, hiding more, avoiding the litter box, or quietly giving up space to the other cat. That's not peace, that's pressure. So here's how you fix it. Provide one litter box per cat, plus one extra, separate feeding areas, and create vertical spaces, like shelves or cat trees, where each cat can claim their own safe zone. You don't need a bigger home, you just need to stop making them compete for it. And if you're starting to recognize some of these habits in your own routine, take a second to like this video and subscribe, because the last few points, especially the final one, might explain something about your cat that you've been wondering about for a long time, but never quite understood. Your cat rolls over, stretches out, and shows you their belly. What do? Most people go straight in for a rub, and a second later, your cat grabs your hand, kicks, maybe even bites, and you're left confused thinking, what did I do wrong? Here's the truth. That belly was never an invitation. It was a statement. When your cat exposes their belly, they're showing you the most vulnerable part of their body, the place that protects all their vital organs. In the wild, exposing it would be incredibly risky. So when they do it around you, it means they feel safe. Not that they want to be touched. Research from the University of Lincoln found that cats respond far more positively when they're touched in preferred areas like the cheeks, chin, and base of the ears, while areas like the belly or tail are much more likely to trigger defensive reactions. So when you reach in and touch their belly without invitation, you're unintentionally breaking the exact trust they were offering. Over time, your cat learns something subtle but important, that being vulnerable around you isn't always safe. So next time your cat rolls over, try something different. Pause, speak softly, give them a slow blink. Let them own that moment without turning it into something physical. That's how trust actually grows. Have you ever locked eyes with your cat and held the stare, thinking it was a bonding moment? It feels natural, right? For humans, eye contact means connection, attention, even love. But in your cat's world, it means something very different. A direct, unbroken stare is often seen as a threat. Among cats, prolonged eye contact is a form of confrontation, something that can lead to tension or even aggression. So when you hold that gaze, thinking you're being affectionate, your cat may actually feel uneasy. Now here's where it gets interesting. You've probably noticed your cat doing something else instead. A slow, relaxed blink. That's not random. A 2020 study from the University of Sussex found that cats were significantly more likely to approach humans who slow blinked at them compared to those who maintain a neutral or direct gaze. In other words, the slow blink is their version of a smile. It's how they say, "I trust you." So instead of staring, try this. Look at your cat gently. Slowly close your eyes, then open them again. No pressure, no expectation, and more often than not, they'll blink back. A small moment, but one that speaks their language. Have you ever rearranged your room, moved furniture around, or cleaned and shifted your cat's things? And then suddenly, your cat starts acting different, hiding more, exploring less, acting unsure in places they used to feel comfortable. It's easy to think they're just being dramatic, but what's really happening is much deeper. Cats don't see your home the way you do. You see furniture. They see a map, a detailed, carefully memorized map built on scent, structure, and familiarity. Every corner, every object, every pathway, it all means something to them. Cats rely heavily on spatial memory. They also use scent marking, rubbing their face against objects, to create a sense of ownership and safety. So when you suddenly move things around, you're not just redecorating, you're erasing their map. And a cat without a clear map doesn't feel safe. That stress can show up in quiet ways. Less appetite, more hiding, even accidents outside the litter box. So if you need to make changes, do it gradually. Move one thing at a time. Let them re-explore. Let them rebuild that sense of control. Because for your cat, familiarity isn't just comfort, it's security. Let's come back to something we touched on earlier. The way cats go quiet, because this might be the most important part of this entire video. Here's something most people don't realize. Adult cats don't actually meow at each other. They don't need to. Meowing is a sound they develop specifically to communicate with humans. That means every time your cat meows at you, when you walk into the room, when they follow you into the kitchen, when they sit by the door. That's not random. That's your cat choosing to talk to you. Now think about what happens next. You're on your phone. You're busy. You hear it, but you don't respond. No eye contact, no voice, no acknowledgement. At first, nothing seems different, but over time, something shifts. Your cat doesn't get louder. They don't try harder. They just stop. A study from Sophia University in Tokyo found that cats can recognize their owner's voice and distinguish it from strangers. They're not just making noise. They know it's you they're talking to. The real question is, are you talking back? Because when a cat feels unheard, they don't complain. They disconnect. And that silence, that's not peace. That's distance. So the next time your cat talks to you, answer them. You don't need to understand every sound. You just need to show that you're there. Because a cat that keeps talking to you is a cat that still believes you're listening. And that belief is something you don't want to lose. If you look back at everything we've talked about today, the overwhelming sense, the silent territory stress, the misunderstood belly, the uncomfortable eye contact, the sudden changes in their world, and the moments you didn't respond, they all have one thing in common. Your cat never complained. They never made it obvious. They never forced you to notice. They just quietly adapted or slowly pulled away. And that's what makes this so easy to miss and so important to understand, because the bond between you and your cat isn't built on big moments. It's built on the small ones, repeated every single day. So here's something to think about. Is your cat still trying to connect with you, or have they already started to go quiet? And if they are still reaching out in the smallest, quietest ways, don't miss it. Because once that silence settles in, it's much harder to bring them back. If this video helped you see your cat a little differently, make sure to subscribe and share your cat's behavior in the comments below. Because sometimes the more we understand them, the closer they choose to stay.